Hi, Mochismo Eugene, and welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share this video if you found it helpful, give it a thumbs up, pass it on if you believe someone else will benefit from it. I would appreciate that. Got you guys on widescreen today, and it's so windy out and cold. I was going to do an outdoors video. Sorry, guys. I want to discuss with you guys about holding space versus absorbing the things in that space. You know, as an empath, we definitely absorb a lot of energy from other people, and along with that, we absorb a lot of the toxicity, their grief, their joy, all of the emotions that are outside of us that involves a lot of other people. Oftentimes we feel it literally and figuratively, and so I mean, it's something we innately are just prone to do. That's an empathic nature at its best. Okay, but once you're awakened and you gain a true awareness that as an empath you have a decent heart, you have a decent moral compass. You know, just to begin with, you have a decent morality. You're not, you know, it's not an ego thing. It's not a better than thing. Obviously, I have to stress that because a lot of us who are healing as empaths, we would conclude that that's how a lot of us empaths are coming off, but that's not it. But as you heal, the more and more the disclaimer won't be necessary. You'll understand from one empath to another. So I say that outright just because I don't want to lose the audience here that I believe need this information, so I don't mind. So once you awaken, then you have a better understanding of who you are and that nature as an empath, especially as a result of narcissistic abuse. You now know that your empathy has been played on, and so now let's say post awakening, from this point on you hold a space. You don't absorb anything in that space, you just hold it. And what I'm talking about when I say hold that space, when someone comes to you, loved one, family members, friends, co-workers, whoever, and they have a grievance or a qualm or a burden or a disaster or an unfortunate situation that has happened to them. They've lost a loved one, and they're looking for, not so much all the time, a shoulder to cry on. They're venting. Now, you recognize that just like you did before you were awakened by the empath. And the first response, or the natural response of the empath, is to listen. Now, and to go on and be considerate. You're holding that space. But we often went beyond that and we began to absorb recklessly, unthinking, callously, zealously. We went on to absorb everything that came out of that person's mouth, that grief, whatever it is, that grievance, because our understanding was not being navigated in a healthy way. We stuck our neck into the guillotine, and not all, but many times a few people chopped our neck off. So holding that space just means that you're open ear, you listen, you are able to hold a space. And another thing I want to add to holding that space: don't carelessly and callously continue eye contact with the person who you're holding that space with, who has that grievance. I'm going to tell you why you don't. You give them a casual eye contact occasionally, but you are just holding space, because giving eye contact, undivided attention, if you will, before being able to intuitively observe and take in body language, demeanor, and you're not outright being a skeptic. You're holding that space, because guess what? Once you overplay your hand and you're to the point of no return, you won't be able to do what I'm asking you to do now. So it's better to go in, and as an awakened empath, this is going to be automatic anyway. If you're healing appropriately, this is going to automatically go into your toolbox of how you live and how you move and how you breathe going forward. The Bible even says, test the spirits and see if they are of God. This is kind of on the parallel of how you are testing a spirit. And by you holding that space and not giving that undivided attention and that eye contact, you're going to allow that grievance or that grieving individual or that person who has this qualm or whatever that they're trying to express out in the air, and you just happen to be there conveniently. You'll be able to determine, they will help you determine whether that grief, that grievance, or that whatever it is, that qualm they have, is authentically being demonstrated. You're not going to be the fruit picker. They are going to expose to you, because their body language and the lack thereof of raw organic emotion will show its ugly head. The lack of it. And guess what? You would then know, and it will be at that moment, you know that they blanked up, because you didn't overplay your hand. You just held that space. And let's say, for example, they're not deceitful. They're not manipulating you and your empathic nature. And they're authentically and sincerely, organically grieving and going through something. Okay. Let that play itself out as well. Don't rush to give a hug, an embrace, or anything. You're just there to hold that space. You're not being mean because you don't embrace and reach out and grab them and embrace them and hug them and pat them on their back and say, I know what you're going through. I understand. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. First of all, you being sorry, you didn't commit the act. So you have nothing to be sorry for. But that is something we say because we don't know anything else to say. That is the only band-aid that we know to alleviate that pain that is that person's to carry. That is their pain to carry. You're not heartless because you're allowing them to carry that pain. That pain is necessary. It was the same pain that you went through that helped you. You carried that pain. And look how you came out. You came out on the other side looking like you look now. A person who's aware. A person who's able to take things for what they are. And not take them at face value either. But learn to accept what you're going through. Embrace it for what it is. Go through that grieving process, that loss. Think back when you were going through it. And you were reaching out, telling everybody your story and what you were going through. Empaths, raise your hand if you got a hug from anybody when you start telling them this stuff. you didn't get no hugs. They would give you that shallow, yeah man, sorry to hear that. Girl, feel bad for you. The girls might have gave you a hug. You girls to girl. Now looking back, I guarantee you girls, whoever that person was that gave you that hug, they either distanced themselves away from you You don't have that close contact with them anymore. Not to say they were narcissists. You just scared the hell out of them with this information. They didn't recognize you anymore. So you have to understand, even people that may not be a narcissist, when you awaken and you begin to just hold space as opposed to absorbing their BS and their sob stories and their blah blah blah, because you were always there. You were always there to anchor people to their emotions, to hold them steady when they were trembling and tripping and staggering and dizzy. You were there to prop them up, because their narcissism, association brings along simulation. What I'm saying? What am I saying? You and I both, as well as a lot of other unknowing empaths. These are empaths that don't even know they're empaths. Some can say, well, I'm an empath because I care. They don't truly fully know what that means, as we didn't know. We know what it means now. And it means so much more than what we even know now. We're going to have to work this out throughout our whole life. That empath. That means taking the back seat when you don't want to take the back seat. That means drowning yourself in humility, or dunking yourself in the humility pool without drowning. Because you can have so much humility, it'll bury you. It'll lead to a light depression, if not an extreme depression, because you will start taking this humility inwardly, overtly and severely, to the point where you'll feel like a victim. So, not to get off topic, you get where I'm going with this. These people who did give you girl to girl hugs, and you guys might have had one or two guys that, gave you a dap and said, man, I hope it all work out for you. You don't see them guys anymore. They see you and they'll give you a cordial, hey, what's up, how you doing? But I guarantee you, they won't connect with you like they did in times past, because you're different. So they got to move differently now. They're apprehensive, and they don't really even know why. They're apprehensive because you seem different, you appear different, you talk different, you move different, your whole aura is different. But they still don't definitively know why, where that comes from. Because if they did, they would embrace you and embrace the fact that you know something that they should want to know. That living these lives of deception and manipulation and illusion, it takes a lot of energy. You would think they'd be like, wouldn't it be a perfect situation when the empath awakened and you told people this, and they'd be like, oh yeah, man, tell us more. Oh girl, we need to just make some time out, an hour or a day, and I can come over and you can talk to me some more about this being awake thing. You ain't anyone who's had anyone since you've been awakened that want to sit down and have a round table discussion and want to know, and eagerly want to know more about this thing that you have happened upon. Put it in the comments. So, as an awakened empath, you're supposed to hold space. You hold your space first and foremost, and you hold the space of whatever that circumstance or situation is, if you so happen to hold that space. You don't go out of your way to hold space either. That's something I want you guys to know too. You don't go in burning houses every time you see one burning. You don't just become Captain Save a Bro and save a you know what. You become present, or you just remain present, not become present. You are present. You just be present, hold space without absorbing unnecessarily these things outside of you that have nothing to do with you. You're an empath, and that's enough. Your presence calms. Your presence brings peace. Your presence brings happiness to those who are able to embrace it. Those that are not, that's not your problem. Never has been and never will be. Understand this, empaths. This is not being mean. This is being definitively aware. This is clarity. This is having a keen insight into things that in times past you overlooked and you you would pass it off as whatever excuse we would put in that blank. But we don't do that anymore because that is callous, that is reckless, that is passive, that is a lot of things. You don't get any brownie points for overstepping your own boundaries. Because if you overstep your own boundaries, you open yourself up to other people crossing your boundaries. Because you already reneged on the boundaries you've set for yourself. But in times past, we thought we had secure, firm boundaries, but we left the gate half open and half closed, half locked and half unlocked. As I said before, near the beginning of this video, we will forever be tested. We will forever pass tests. We will forever get grades that are unsatisfactory. But the difference now, as opposed to then, is that we are paying attention in class. We're not dozing off. We're not being distracted easily simply for the fact that we think we need to be distracted. We don't need distractions. We don't look for distraction. We're focused people. Awakened, even more so. Understanding you were focused when the narcissist met you. And they came alone and tried to throw your focus off. A lot of times they were successful. That was then, this is now. I got my scooter stolen Thursday. Actually over there at the service station across the street over there. I didn't lock it up. I will talk about that in detail probably in the next video or so. I'll give you just a rundown. I may even do a live about it because that has a lot to do with more so what I mean by holding space as opposed, well, it doesn't have anything to do with it, but I'll share with you how I exercise what I was talking to you about in this video, holding space as opposed to absorbing people's different types of emotions and energies. So this should be interesting. $3,000 scooter. I don't think I've been mad not 1 second about it. A little disgusted because I know some details that when I talk to you about them, you will understand that when you are awakened empath, you can see through walls. I've said this many times before, so you'll understand exactly what I mean when I talk to you about that video. I did do a police report. I did my own little investigations, and it yielded me some success to some degree, but still no scooter. Again, I may go live and do an in-depth conversation about it in hopes that someone or someone would gain some insight on this. And even if you have stories similar to the one that I'm going to talk to you about, things being taken, stolen, you can share that too in the comments. So learn to hold the space as opposed to absorbing the energies, the issues, and the emotions of other people. That being said, bless.